Hi and welcome to Geeks for Geeks. Can I have a quick +1 in the chat if I'm visible as well as equally audible? Then we would start right away. Let me just turn on my preview screen to see if I'm visible or not. Seems like 14 people are already waiting. Hey Satyabrat Oja, hey Ankit Kumar Gupta, hey Suraj, how are you? Good morning Siddharth, उठ जाओ भाई. पढ़ा पढ़ा तो हम लोगों को. अभिराठी, it's not good morning, it's good evening. Thanks a lot Ankit. Yeah, मैं उठ गया. Okay, fair enough. Anyone else? Okay, so fair enough. आज बहुत interesting topic है. Today we would learn about a very interesting topic. Trust me, it looks absolutely very simple and it has less of theory, more of problem solving. And today we would solve two problems from CSES problem set. So I suggest you to make an account over there. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Abhirati, मैं just मजाक कर रहा था आपसे, serious मत हो. Okay, fair enough. So I think जब जागो तभी सवेरा. Fair enough. Okay. Okay, so let me just lower down the quality of my screen. Yeah, fair enough. So let's start. So today we would be learning about two pointers. As the name suggests, two pointers is just like having two pointers, but here pointers are referring to as what? Variables. Okay, variables. So we can say that suppose we have A1, we have A2, A3, A4 and A5. So we can have one variable here, that is V1 here and V2 here. Simple, देखने में simple लगता है. Okay, CSES problem set. ये देखो CSES.fi. Okay, इसमें जाओ, register करो. Fair enough. Quickly कर लेना क्योंकि we would solve a lot of problems today. Not lot of, just two of the problems, but they are damn important. So, iterating two monotonic pointers across an array to search for a pair of indices satisfying some condition in linear time. Okay, so the basic way is that suppose we have A1, we have A2, we have A3, we have A4 and A5 and A6 and A7 here. Okay, so we can say that first we have a pointer on the left side and we can call it low, and a pointer on the right hand side we can call it high itself. Okay, suppose a condition, we are fulfilling one condition. Okay, we are fulfilling one condition. Then we would check for this condition also. Okay, then we would check for this condition, we would check for this condition, we would check for this condition. In simple terms, okay, so we would take the input, we would initialize the low to this side, high to this side, or you can also tell that this would be the left and this would be the right itself. Okay, and basically दो pointer दो जगह रहेंगे और कुछ conditions के हिसाब से we would make them go right, go left, go right, go left, go right, go left. This is what we would do. Okay, simple, fair enough. Okay, right. So simple. Now let me just go back. Yeah, so ऐसे होगा. Okay, now first we would understand how two pointer is done. First we would answer how, and next we would answer why. Okay, first we would answer how, then we would answer why, and then we would answer the main important, how to continue. Okay, how to continue. Simple. So let's look at the first question itself. Okay, पहले question देखते हैं. Why do we look at question before learning anything? So that we build an appetite for a particular food or a particular topic. So एक appetite build up हो जाता है, you become hungry and whatever is given to you, you eat it and think that it is delicious enough. That is just the theory behind it. Okay, so let's start with this example, okay, this question only. Okay, so you are given Okay, just read the question and let me start a timer. So yeah, this is the perfect. So एक टर्मिनल चालू कर लेते हैं. Okay, and we would have a countdown of 3 minutes. 3 minutes is damn enough. Also, when to use two-pointer algorithm. Yeah, when to use two-pointer algorithm. This is absolutely very important. First, we would answer how we use two-pointer algorithm. Then we would answer when to use. Okay, so I am giving you 2 minutes. Take your time, digest the question, try to solve the question. This is the question of CSES problem set. Okay, I think that you would need the link. Okay, so this the link to this is just this, sum of two values. Okay, just search for sum of two values and write just CSES. I think you would be getting it. Okay, just let me see. Sum of two values, CSES, the second link itself. Okay, you would get that. Just go to that link and you would find it. Okay, let me just check the stream health till that point. Yeah, this seems perfect. Let me just check the stream health. We have 0 frame drops and we are live for 6 minutes 36 seconds. Okay, fair enough. So quickly read the question. After you have done reading the question, then we would start with the explanation of this question. Quickly read the question. Can anyone just float the link here itself? Okay, let me just go and float the link to you. Just wait a second. I would do this thing. Let's go to sum of two values. Yeah. Just tell me if this link is accessible to you or not. Just tell me that did you receive any link or not, because what happens is YouTube doesn't allow us to send links. Okay, just tell me if you have got the link or not, or what we can do is we can just add some more space to it. Yeah, now I think you would get the link. Just remove the spacing thing and you would be able to do it. Tell me, did you got the link or not? Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, so we have only 7 seconds remaining. Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Anupam. Thanks a lot, Suraj. Okay, so let's move to the question itself. So let's just see. Okay, yeah, this is absolutely fine. Okay, so what are we given and what we need to do? Okay, you are given an array of n integers. Okay, and your task is to find two values at distinct position. So we need to find ai, okay, and aj, and the conditions are that the indexes should not be same. Position means what? Position means indices, indices means I and j. So I should not be equal to j itself. Okay, I should not be equal to j, and ai plus aj shouldn't be equal to x itself. Okay, this is what you need to do. Now the input line has two integers. First one is n, that is the size of the array. So just I would write size. Okay, and this is the x. X I would just write target. Okay, target, and then n means size, so you would be given n elements. So basically क्या बोला जा रहा है, ये हमें दो वैल्यू खोजना है दो अलग अलग पोजीशन पे, और उन दोनों को जब सम करेंगे ना उनका वैल्यू x आएगा, ऐसा बोला जा रहा है. फेयर इनफ. अगर वैसा नहीं होता है तो इम्पॉसिबल प्रिंट करना है, और अगर ऐसा हो पाता है तब हमें उन दोनों का पोजीशन प्रिंट करना है. ओके, so now let us take hold of the sample test cases. Okay, seems cool. Let's just take a hold of the sample test cases. Okay, fair enough. So now this is 2, 7, 5 and 1. Okay, so 2, 7, 5 and 1. So समझाने के लिए let's take the one indexing of them. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And the target is x. This is x. X is the target. So 8 is the target. So we want the number 8. So 2 plus 4, 7 plus 1 equals to 8. Is 8 equal to the target? Yes, it is. So it is told that 2 and 4 is the value in itself. No. You can solve this problem in n log n also. You can solve this problem using n on log n also. It's not needed that you solve this problem in big O of n. You can solve this problem in n log n also. Fair enough. So now let's first see. Okay, so we need to find ai plus aj is equal to x. Okay, whatever is given beforehand, we would first mark them. So we would mark the x beforehand. Okay, so it can be thought as of ai is equal to x minus a of j. LHS से RHS में आया तो साइन रिवर्स हो गया, प्लस माइनस हो जाएगा, माइनस प्लस हो जाएगा, मल्टीप्लीकेशन डिवीजन हो जाएगा, सेम थिंग that we did in our class 12. Now what we can do is we can subtract this value, and whatever this value is coming, we can just search for the other pair. Okay, now let us do the same dry run in the case of this one. Okay, now suppose I have x is equal to 8. So first we went to 2. Okay, so 2 minus 8 would be minus 6. So is minus 6 present? No, minus 6 is not present. Okay, then we have 7 minus, so 8 minus the value 7. Okay, that is 1. So 1 is present? Yes, 1 is present. So we can say that these two, 7 plus 1 is equals to 8. Now we would come to 5. 8 minus 5 is equals to 3. Is 3 present? No, 3 is not present. Then we would come to this value, 8 minus 1. Is 7 present? Okay, yes, 7 is present. So we would say that 7 plus 1 is equals to 8 itself. This is what we can do. Now इसमें एक छोटा सा और एक प्रॉब्लम है. Okay, एक छोटा सा प्रॉब्लम और है. Let's discuss that also. Suppose we have the value as 3, 4, 8 and suppose 1, and the target value x is equals to 8. Okay, or let's just take this value, x is equal to 4, and let's make this value as 2 itself. Okay, so 4 minus 3 is equals to 1. Is 1 present? Yes, 1 is present. So we can say that 3 and 1 are the pair that we want. Then we have 4 minus 2 and the value is 2 itself. So 2 is not present, but if we just see here, 2 is present, but ये वाला 2 तो ये वाला 2 है. We were not here to find this 2 only. Okay, and let me show you one more example. 4, 1, 2 and 5. If x is equal to 4, then 4 minus 2 is equal to 2 only, and this is this 2 only. So pair present नहीं है, फिर भी हम बोल दे रहे हैं कि it is present. Okay, so ये थोड़ा गड़बड़ है. Okay, so what we can say is, if x the value x minus y is equal to y itself, if x minus y is equal to y itself, देखो ये x है, both the values are same, so we can term it as y. If x minus y is equal to y itself, then we want one more frequency. But to be honest, you don't need to consider this case, because in this question itself, even if you don't consider this case, this would work. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to first hash the values in a map. Okay, we need to find the other pair of it. Okay, other pair of it, and then we need to print if this can be done or not. This is what you need to do. Okay, now tell me if this thing is clear or not. Quickly tell me if this thing is clear or not. Okay, anyone else for whom this is clear can quickly tell me. Quickly tell me for anyone else for whom this is clear. Okay, so we can do this thing easily. Okay, let's just, okay, so इसको यहाँ करते हैं, इसको ऐसे करते हैं, then simple वाला निकालते हैं, and then listen to competitive programming, and then this. Okay, fair enough. Then first n and x is given, the array and the target sum. So we have n and x, we have c in n and c in x itself. Then we are given n number of values. So a of n itself. Then what we would do is, for int I is equals to 0, I is less than n, and I plus plus, then we do c in of a of I itself. Okay, fair enough. तो सारे का वैल्यू मिल गया फिर. Okay, now what we do is we come across this one. Okay, so print two integers, the position of the value. Okay, so हमें दोनों की position बतानी है. Okay, दोनों की position बतानी है. So what we can do is we need to hash these values. Okay, so what we can do is val of, so we can just have a map of int and int, map of int and int, और इसको थोड़ा नीचे रख देते हैं, and then we have m. Okay, and then what we can do is m of a of I is equal to I plus 1, because we need to print it in one index, and this for loop is in 0 indexed, so 1 plus हो जाएगा. Okay, and then what we do is we start with the same for loop, I is less than n and I plus plus. Okay, now if map dot find the value x minus the value that is given, the current value, is not equal to m dot end, अगर वो end तक नहीं पहुंच जाता, then we have a value. Then see out the current index and with a spacing the value m of x minus a of I, and after this we have an endl itself. Okay, and then we say that return 0, यहाँ से निकल जाओ. Okay, if we are not able to find a particular value, then we need to print impossible. So let us first copy this impossible and let's just write impossible. Okay, and this should be running itself. Let me just see if they are running for the sample test case, and it's running for the sample test case. See, for the sample test case it is running. Okay, so then let's just submit this and see, and then I would explain what I did quickly. Okay, so let's first explain. Okay, so we have a little bit of wrong answer, but the wrong answer are mainly due to the a of n minus 1, what I told, 4 minus 2 is equals to 2 itself. This is because of that. So you can just ignore that and let me explain you what I did. Okay, let me just explain you. Okay, fair enough. So what I did was, this was the size, this was the target element, I took the input, then I created an array value, and then I told what to is equal to 1, 7 is equal to 2, 5 is equal to 3, 1 is equal to 4 itself. This is what I did. Then I went to try finding out x minus a of I. Okay, so x minus 2, so x was what? 8. Okay, so 8 minus 2 is equals to 6. Is 6 there? No, 6 is not there. So this would be m dot end. अगर कोई वैल्यू नहीं होता तो वो सिंपली मैप के एंड पे जाके पॉइंट हो जाता. So this would point to m dot end. This won't work. Then 8 minus 7. 8 minus 7 is equal to 1. 1 is present at the 4th index. So what we did was we print this index and a minus a of I index, and then we say that this work is done. We need to print only one occurrence, okay, and we need return 0. Okay, this is what we do. At this point we would return. If we were not able to find this point, then we would simply print impossible. Okay, map is just like mapping the values with key and value, key and value, key value pair. Like मैं याद रखता हूँ कि Nilesh has said clear, Shubham has said clear. Okay, Abhi Rathi का roll number 5 है. Okay, Anupam का roll number 3 है. So just like this, we kind of hash the values that is present itself. Okay, so if you want a more descriptive explanation of map, quickly tell me. I would give you a more descriptive explanation of map, but you need to tell me quickly. वेक्टर ऑफ पेयर को मैप कह सकते हैं क्या? नो, आई डोंट थिंक. मैप इज द कंटेनर विच इज यूज्ड टू स्टोर द एलिमेंट, ईच एलिमेंट हैज द की एंड वैल्यू. या सो यू आर टेलिंग यस फॉर which one? For map? Suraj, just tell me quickly. Okay, so let's first get the AC also, that we were not able to get it. Okay, so what we can do is we can just find the value, and at this point we won't hash the values. Okay, at this point we won't hash the values, and at this point we would say that m of a of I is equal to I plus 1. This is what we would do, and let's just check that it is running for the sample test case. Yeah, 4 and 2, this is running absolutely fine. Let's just check for this. ये वाला तो काम बनना चाहिए. Sidra sir, CPP. It's pending, and yes, it is accepted. Accepted देख के बहुत सुकून मिलता है. Okay, fair enough. This is how. Yes sir, map. Fair enough. So let me just explain you what is map itself. So map is a container which is in STL. So there are two parts of a map. I just wrote map of int and int. Okay, and I named it as m. Okay, so this was the key and this was the value itself. Okay, so key value. So basically एक पेयर जैसा insert हो जाता है. एक key, एक value, एक key, एक value, एक key, एक value. Suppose we can just say that 5 is equal to 1. So whenever we would try to access 5, the output would be 1 itself. So just a sec. So whenever we would insert 3, we would get the output 2. Whenever we would insert 6, we would get the output 3. Now suppose we are trying to find the key 4. 4 is not present, so it will come and point at this after the last element. Okay, now if that is present, it would point at this direction. Suppose I want to point 3, so 3 would be pointing to that direction. Okay, fair enough. This is what it is. Now let us discuss so what is the time complexity of this solution? The time complexity of this solution. So we are taking the input of n and x itself. Then we are hashing the values and we are retrieving the values also. So this find function has a time complexity of log of n. So for one element we are doing log n operation. Okay, and how many elements are there? We are having n elements. So we would just multiply this side n into 1. So that side would also be multiplied into n into 1. So log n is multiplied with n. So for n elements we would do n log n. So n log n operations are being done. Fair enough? So this is what is done at this point. So we have a time complexity of n log n, and this is quite good to convince your interviewer that you are good candidate. But you are the best candidate, you need to say that you need to prove this. So for this you need to use two-pointer algorithm. Okay, and two-pointer algorithm at this condition would also work on n log n, but this would be more optimized. Okay, so now what we would do is we would take this value and we would try to solve this. Okay, so now we have 2, 7 and 5. Okay, so let's write this value in the sorted order. Okay, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3 and this is 4. So 1 would be there, then 2 would be there, 5 would be there, 7 would be there. So 1 का इंडेक्स क्या था? 1 का इंडेक्स 4 था, 2 का इंडेक्स 1 था, 5 का इंडेक्स 3 था, 7 का इंडेक्स 2 था. So 1, 2, 3 and 4 सारे एलिमेंट्स आ चुके and x is equal to 8 itself. Okay, now suppose I have a pointer at this and at this. This is low, this is high. Okay, we know that. Fair enough. Okay, sir इस वीडियो सीरीज का कौन सा डे है? 4th डे है. Okay, fair enough. So we have low and high. So what is the sum of this? 1 plus 7. So 1 plus 7 is equals to 8. So we got the value. But suppose the value was 6. Suppose x is equal to 6. Let's make this a little bit hard, because 8 after sorting would get the first value itself. Suppose the value is 16 itself. So we know that low plus high का value चाहिए हमें. Okay. So अगर low को इस तरफ किया तो value बढ़ेगा, अगर high को इस तरफ किया तो value कम होगा. ध्यान से समझना, एक low यहाँ है, high यहाँ है. low को इस तरफ करूंगा तो value बढ़ेगा, high को इस तरफ करूंगा तो value कम होगा. If we move this low this side, at the right hand side, the value would increase. If we move this high on the left hand side, the value would decrease. Okay. Now suppose 1 plus 7 is equals to 8. So 8 is more than 6. So we need to lower down the value. To lower down the value, we would lower down high. So high would now be 5 itself. So 5 plus 1 is equals to 6. We already got this value. So we would say that at this point only we come to the conclusion that we have the value. Okay. Now how to implement this? To implement this is quite easy. We would take a vector of pairs. Okay. So vector of pair would be taken, in which the first would be the element itself and next one would be the index itself. So element and index. This is what we need to do, and we would sort according to the first element. Basically, if you use the default sorting only, it would be sorted according to the first element only. So after this, we would have this value. We would initialize a low and high at 0 and n minus 1. Then we would do accordingly. If we found a value, then we would just say it index. If we don't find the value, we would just simply return that it is impossible. Okay. Fair enough. So let me just remove all of this. Let me just reload the listen to competitive programming, and then sum of two values, and this would be ctrl plus u plus 1, and you need to again print. So what we would do is int of n comma x, and then we would do cin of n and x, then a of size n, then we would do for int I is equals to 0, I is less than n and I plus plus, then we would take the input of this particular array itself. So all the elements would be taken input. Then what we would do is, at this point only, instead of having an array, we would have a vector of pair, okay, pair of int comma int itself, and this would be named as v, and we would say that this is int x and this is c in x, and then v dot push back the element and the index would be I plus 1 itself. This is what you need to do. So I told that element and index, so element is this and index is I plus 1. Then what we would do is we would sort v dot begin to v dot end. This is done itself. Then what we would do is we would implement a low is equals to 0, high is equal to n minus 1, okay, and then we would write while high low is less than high, while low is less than high itself, okay. So then we would have the value itself. If a of, so let's first take int, okay, so if a of low plus a of high is greater than this value, so अगर low plus high वो x से बड़ा है, okay, so this would be v of low plus v of high, and this would be first, and this would be also first. Or what we can do is, let's just wait, hash define f as first and hash define s as second. Simple. So this would be dot f and this would be also dot f. अगर ये ग्रेटर हुआ, अगर लो प्लस हाई ग्रेटर है तो इसको इस तरफ लेके जाएंगे तो वैल्यू वुड इंक्रीज, इसको इस तरफ लेके जाएंगे तो वैल्यू वुड डिक्रीज. सो हाई माइनस माइनस, so high should be at this position only, okay. And then we have if it is less, okay, if it is less, so at this point if it is less, so let's just use else if. नहीं तो what we would do is एक less होने के बाद भी ऐसा वैल्यू दे देगा. So if it is less than this, if it is less than this, low plus high is less, so low if it is goes at this direction, then it would be low plus plus, low plus plus, okay. And then we would come to the conclusion where greater less, or this time else if a v of low plus v of high, okay, v of low plus v of high is equal to x, then we have the indices, so we would have C out the indexes, yeah, v of low comma s, okay, and then a spacing between them, and v of high dot s itself, and then we have the end line, okay, and then we would return 0. If that is not the case, we would get out from the loop and we would just print here impossible, okay. This is to be printed as a string and this is it. Now we are expected to kind of give somewhere, okay, yeah, this is seems this is correct, and this is 4 and 2, this is also correct. Let's just submit and see if this goes correct or not. and this got accepted. Okay, so this got an AC. So what are we basically doing here? Okay, so let me just do the dry run once. Okay, then you would understand. So for this, so let me just take the white pen. Yeah, so for this we have 1 as 4, 1 and 4 is there, then we have 2 and 1, then we have 5 and 3, then we have 7 and 2. Okay, so pehle we have the low at this and high at this. The target was 8, so low plus high is equal to this value. So 7 plus 1 equal to 8. So what is the value? So we would take hold of this. This is what? This is first, this is second. So we would take hold of this first value and then we would take hold of the second value of this high and we would print this, and after this point we would return 0. That is हमारा काम यहाँ तक हो गया, यहाँ से return कर जाओ. If we are not able to find a value, we would simply say that print impossible. This is what we need to do. Okay, so this is the correct usage of two pointer. This is the code. I would be providing this code in the LinkedIn itself. By the way, just anyone who is from the LinkedIn community, just remember, just remind me to send the PDFs of my notes, whatever I am drawing in the LinkedIn itself as a PDF. Time complexity in two pointer is n log n. Yes, it is. Why? Because it involves sorting. But if the elements are already sorted, then the time complexity is big O of n. Okay, but in this scenario, as sorting is involved, we have big O of n log n. But if we just comment out this sorting, this won't work, but the time complexity would be big O of n. Okay, now tell me if this thing is clear or not. If this thing is clear, we would move to the next problem. Okay, let me just see what is the stream health. Yeah, the stream health is absolutely fine. We are live for 37 minutes and yeah. Okay, so sum of two variables is done. Now we would move on to the next problem. Okay, while people just ask me doubts, what I would do is you can start reading the next problem. Okay, sub array sum 1. Okay, just start reading the question itself and I would provide you the link itself. Let me just search the link. Sub array sum, and this would be okay. Just let me open CSCS problem set. And what is the link? 1660. Okay, so 1660. LinkedIn FS 166. This would be 0. Okay, just tell me what do you mean by F. Yeah, okay, just let me first tell me if you got the link or not. Just let me know if you got the link or not. Okay, so what do I mean by F? So I defined F as first and S as second now only. What do I mean by this? That if I just say F, it would be meant as first. If I just say S, it would be meant as second. Like we said in our school days, na 143 matlab I love you hoga. Okay, just like that. Okay, same itself. Okay, wo bhi kya din the na. Just tell me if you have got the link or not. Okay, then we can just move forward with this. Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, how many of you got the intuition for this problem? Okay, and this is the next problem. Give it some time, try to read the problem. Thanks a lot, Manav Verma. Thanks a lot, Satyabrat Ojha. Just tell me if this thing is clear. Okay, just take your time, read the question, and let me have an upper bound to this waiting. Countdown of, suppose, let's say just 3 minutes, or let's say 2 minutes. Okay, so 2 minutes seems fine. सर आपके याद रखते हैं गजब के, सर आप ही आपके याद रखते का गजब का ट्रिक. या सो बेसिकली क्या कहता था ना कि बेसिकली व्हाट यू कैन डू इज whenever you want to remember anything, you can just relate it with a real life scenario or a funny thing. Like when in sorting, when we use the comparator, अगर ये पहले रख रहे हैं, अगर मतलब the thing which is first, no, this won't be using DP. Mani Vishnu Deep, this is not using DP. This is just simple. Okay, मैं क्या बोल रहा था? Okay, so क्या होता है ना कि whenever you attach it with a funny scenario, like suppose in the sorting, in the comparator, the first element and the second element, whatever is that, we want the ordering of that only. So उसको remember करने के लिए क्या करता था ना कि अगर इसको पहले रख रहे हैं तो इसका ordering पहले बताना होगा. I used this. Then trees, segment trees. Then एक है ना कि slow and fast pointer in linked list. Slow and fast pointer वाली ट्रिक है ना, मैं rabbit और tortoise वाली रेस से रखता हूँ. Okay, so let's not disturb you. Read the question and then we would just start with the explanation. Using two pointer whenever we found the sum, count plus plus. Yes. That is what you need to do. Okay. So let's take the input output. I think that you have worked on this problem. Okay. Let's start with this problem. Okay. So we are given an array of n positive numbers. Okay, n positive numbers, and your task is to count the number of sub-arrays having the sum x itself. So this time this a plus x plus y is equal to the target value won't work this time. Okay, this time you need to count the number of sub-arrays. Ab first thing is that what is the meaning of sub-array? Okay, what is a sub-array? Okay, suppose we have A1, A2, A3, A4 and A5. A sub-array is nothing but a part of the whole array. Okay, suppose we have only A1. So if we just say that we have only A1, A1 can be a sub-array. A1 and A2 can also be a sub-array. Just this. And A3, A4 and A5 can also be a sub-array, and this whole array can also be a sub-array of this array. Okay, and then suppose A4, A3, A4 and A5 can be there, then A1, A2 and A3 can be there. This is the way. But if you are taking, you can only take one part. So basically क्या है ना कि see, I have this whole body. Okay, and you are allowed to take only one part of mine. You can't take multiple parts of mine. You can only take one part. You only can take my head, you can only take my chest, you can only take my stomach, you can only take my legs. This is what you can. But you can't take multiple organ of mine. What do I mean by this? I mean by this that suppose A2 and A4 you are taking and you are ignoring A3, this won't work. So you need to take a particular segment of the whole array itself. If you are taking a particular segment of the whole array, then you are allowed to do that, and that would be called as a subarray. So to be honest, the most simple way to do this is that we do it naively, that we would start from, let's just take the array itself, and I would give you a way how to solve this. Okay, so क्या होगा ना कि we would try all the possible scenarios. So the target is 7 and this is 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we would start at 0 and we would try to find the position. So we would first consider 2, 4, 1. 2, 4, 1 matlab 2 plus 4 is equal to 6, 6 plus 1 is equal to 7. So we found a sub array which is of 2, 4 and 1. Then we would go to 2 and 4. 2 and 4 is equal to 6, which is not complete. Then we would go to 2, 4, 1 and 2. This is equal to 4. 4 plus 4 is 8 and this is equal to 9. This won't work. 9 plus 7 is equal to 16. This would also won't work. Then we would go to the 4. First we would consider only 4. 4 is not there. Then 4 plus 1. 4 plus 1 is equal to 5, which is not there. Then we go to 4 plus 1 plus 2, that is 7. And this is equal to the value that we were looking for. So we would simply say that yes, we found a value 2 now, which is 4, 1 and 2. Okay, then we would go to this one, 4 plus 1 plus 2, that is 7, and 7 plus 7 is equal to 14. This is also not there. So what we would do is, next time we would again stand at this position, and we would stand at this position and ask if 1 is equal to 7. No, it is not. Then we would go to 1 and 2. This is equal to 3, which is not equal to 7. We won't do it. Then we would go to 1, 2 and 7. This is equal to 10, which is equal to not equal to 10. This is why we can't do it. Then we would go to 2. Then we would go to 2. First we would start at the second position, first position only, and we would see that if 2 is equal to 7, 2 is not equal to 7. So we would simply remove it. We would move forward. 2 plus 7 is equals to 9. This is also not equal to 7. We would simply remove it. And then what we would do is, we would go to the last element. We would stand at a particular position because that is the only allowed position, and we would stand and see if 7 is equal to 7. Yes, it is. So we would then say that we have found the third subarray, which is just the 7 itself. So 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 2 and the 7 itself are the 3 subarrays that are available to us. Okay, so क्या होगा कि एक जगह पे रुकेंगे और आगे तक देखेंगे, एक जगह पे रुकेंगे आगे देखेंगे, एक जगह पे रुकेंगे आगे देखेंगे, एक जगह पे रुकेंगे आगे देखेंगे. The whole array can be a subarray too. Yes, the whole array can also be a subarray too. Okay, now tell me if this example is clear or not. Okay, so I think that this example should be clear, that we would stand at each position, I or j le lo, 2 nested loop le lo, and the time complexity of this solution is big O of n square, because for each element we are doing n iteration. So for n elements we would be doing n square iterations. So number of elements are how much? The number of elements is 2 into 10 to the power 5. So even if we ignore the constant, and 10 to the power 5 to the power 2 would be 10 to the power 10, 10 to the power 10, which is much greater than 10 to the power 8, which we would definitely get a TLE verdict, time limit exceeded verdict. So we need to think of a better solution. Okay, fair enough. So we need to think of a better solution. Anyone has any better solution than this? Tell me. Okay, so this is also very akin to the problem that we have solved just before this problem. Okay, so what we do at this point also is that we would simply select this one, and then we would go to this one and we would paste it here, and then what we would do is we would first start both the pointer, this is low and this one is high itself. Okay, and we would start both of them from this point only. Okay, so we have the sum is equal to 2. So we have here a sum variable which would be equal to 2. This is less than 7. So what we would do is we would increase this value. Okay, we would though this value would be same, we would increase this value. So now 2 plus 4 is equals to 6. 2 plus 4 is equals to 6. 6 is still less than 7. So what we would do is we would simply increment this value. So when we would increment this value, then this is equal to 7, because 2 plus 4 plus 1 is equals to 7. We came across a value, so we would simply increase the counter. Okay, we could increase the counter. Okay, now we would keep incrementing it. Now we increment it, and the value is 7 plus 2, that is equal to 9, which is now greater than the value 7, which is now greater than the value 7. So now what we would do is we would simply, we know that making the high go at that direction would increase the value. Rather, what we can do is we can take hold of this value and we can make it move at the direction. So agar this is at this position, if we move in that position, this area would increase. But if they are both at this position and this low would come here closer, this low would come here. Suppose this is your girlfriend, this is you, and after a certain position of time you both get closer to each other and she calls you closer to sit next to each other. So this one would go at this position. If the distance between them would be minimized, and now it can be visualized like this: 4 plus 1 plus 2. 4 plus 1 plus 2 is also equals to 7. So we would come to this conclusion that yes, we have 4 plus 1 plus 2 is equals to 7. So we now have the value. So now at the next iteration we would simply increment this value. Okay, now after incrementing this value, this is equal to 7. Now 4 plus 7 plus, so 7 plus 7 is equals to 14. This is greater than the value we are looking for. So greater हो गया, so we would decrement the distance. आपकी गर्लफ्रेंड आपको पास बुला रही है. 10 हो गया, अब आपकी गर्लफ्रेंड आपको पास बुला रही है. 9 हो गया, अब आपकी गर्लफ्रेंड आपको पास बुला रही है. 7 हो गया, अब we found the last one 2, and this is also equal to 1 plus 1 plus 1, that is 3 itself. Now tell me if this is clear or not. I tried to make it as simple as possible. So now the session would be just 10 minutes more. Bear the timing. Okay, bear me for 10 minutes, for one more 10 minutes. बुलाती है मगर जाने का नहीं, या बुलाती है मगर जाने का नहीं. Okay, so quickly tell me if this thing is clear or not. गर्लफ्रेंड वाला एग्जाम्पल मस्त था. जितने सिंगल लड़के, सबको बहुत मजा आ रहा गर्लफ्रेंड वाला एग्जाम्पल में, है नहीं ना? इंजीनियर का दुख. Okay, Suraj is clear. Can I have more people for whom this thing is clear? When the sum exceeds the desired sum, won't be able to jump to the next element because the array is of positive integers. Yeah, the sum will keep on increasing. Yeah. Abhi Rathi, this is clear. Nilesh, this is clear. Satyabrat Ojha, this is clear. So परिणीता मुस्कान मनी विष्णु. अरे हंसो मत, मुझे भी हंसी आ जाती है. क्या करना पड़ता है ना, when we talk about these all informal things, we need to seem like we are talking about very serious, but sometimes I too laugh at these all things. कोई नहीं, बुलाती बनाना पड़ती. Okay, fair enough. So बताओ, this thing is clear? Okay, so let's start with the implementation itself. आज का क्लास में मजा आया, मुझे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग में बहुत मजा आता, to be honest. So let's start. Listen to competitive programming, and this is CTRL plus shift plus U, and this is equal to simple, and we need to have n and x. So int n comma x, and then we would take the input of c in n and then c in x. Then we would have the array itself. Then we would take the input of an elements. So int I is equals to 0, I is less than n, and I plus plus. Then we would have the input of that particular element. This is done itself. Now we would have the sum to store the sum that we were incrementing, and then we would have low is equals to 0 and high would be, and low and high both would be equal to 0 because we started from the same position, remember. And then what is there is that we have high while high is less than n, okay. And then we would first add the sum of a of HIGH. We would add the sum. Now while the sum is greater than the particular value x, we would keep decrementing the left. गर्लफ्रेंड को पास बुलाओ, जब तक मौका है गर्लफ्रेंड के पास आ जाओ. Okay, so we have sum greater than the x. If sum is greater than the x, then we would first remove, because सामने आएगी तो पहले उसका वैल्यू भी तो कम होगा ना. Let me just mute this. Yeah, तो उसका वैल्यू भी तो कम होगा ना. We would first decrement that value. A of this low, we would decrement the value, and then this गर्लफ्रेंड पास आ जाएगी एंड लो प्लस प्लस. सो गर्लफ्रेंड ने अपना इन्वायरमेंट चेक किया, वो पास आ गई. आफ्टर डूइंग दिस, if the sum is equal to the desired value, then we would simply say count plus plus, okay. And we would also have a variable known as count. We would initialize it to 0 and then count plus plus हो गया, okay. And after all of this, high तो हमने बढ़ाया ही नहीं, तो high would also be incremented after every each of this, and then we would see out count, okay, हो गया. And let's just see if this is running correct for the sample test case, और ये sample test case के लिए चल पड़ा, okay. For the sample test case, it is running itself. So let me first submit it, and then we would talk about how we are doing this. Pending, ready, and this is accepted. Now we got a accepted value. Ab I would explain what we did. So basically what we need to do is, we are given an array, we need to find the number of sub-arrays for which the sum is equal to the given desired value. Now what we did was, we initialized the low and high at this position, and this high was incremented and the value was kept getting added. Now whenever this high, suppose the females present at this stream, suppose your boyfriend is going out of your reach, you just come closer to your boyfriend, okay. This is what you do. So this is at the same thing. Suppose your distance is the optimal distance that you desired, then at this point we are doing count plus plus as line number 22, and this high would keep on incrementing, and at the end we would have the count, whatever is the incremented value, and we would do it. Now let's talk about the time complexity. So low and high एक ही बार so this we are comparing has a constant, so big O of 1 it would be ignored, so we are doing the comparison and the addition won't be counted, and at each position the sum the low and high are traveling each position only once. That is why we can say that at this point we are doing big O of n operation, at this point this is big O of n operation, and this is big O of 1. So the upper bound that we have encountered is big O of n. So we have solved this problem in big O of n, and 10 to the power 5, 10 to the power 5 into 10 to the power 5 into 1 is equals to 10 to the power 5 only, which is less than 10 to the power 8, and this is quite clear. From the previous question, why do we need the sorted array to find the sum problem? Because अगर sorted array नहीं होगा तो we would not know कि in which direction we need to move. If it is given the sorted array, we know that if we move in this direction, the value would get lowered down. If we move in this direction, the value would get incremented. इस तरफ जाएंगे तो वैल्यू बढ़ेगा, इस तरफ जाएंगे तो वैल्यू कम होगा. To do this, if only one sort, can we return the indexes of the two number of the target search without using sorted array? Yeah, we can do that by using map, but the time complexity of that would be n log n. At this point also this would be n log n after doing sorting. But if the array is already sorted, then you need to use 2-point algorithm to get the most optimal approach itself. Order of n time complexity, big O of n, the time complex space complexity is big O of 1, because we are not saving anything, we are not using any external array itself. That is what is there. Okay, fair enough. इतना हो गया, थोड़ा हंसी मजाक हो जाए, then we would end the session now. Okay. बाप रे बाप, थक जाता हूँ. So quickly tell me if this thing is clear or not. If this thing is clear, we would end the session then. Big thanks, you are doing great job. Most welcome, bhai mera. Okay, now tell me quickly this is clear or not, and if this thing is clear, we can have a little bit of chit chat like ask me anything session, and we would have an upper bound to this, that is countdown of 2 minutes. And by the way, there is a Telegram group too where I talk a lot. Okay, when I'm free, okay, when I'm working, not in the working hours, but when I'm free, I talk a lot. So if you want the link of the Telegram group, you can just text me on LinkedIn. I would provide you image. You need to scan it and you would be getting the Telegram link. Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Good night, Abhirati. जल्दी सुबह हो गया. He was wishing me good morning. Now he is saying good night. Okay, fair enough. So seems like we are good to go. Okay, still we would just wait for the 10 to 20 seconds more. The number of likes, please increase the number of likes. Would you recommend the CIP course? Yes, I highly recommend the CIP course. Why? The complete interview preparation from Geeks for Geeks also involves preparation of core subjects, and that is absolutely very important. टर्मिनल पे काउंटडाउन कैसे यूज करते हो? टर्मिनल पे काउंटडाउन कैसे यूज करते हो? बिकॉज easy है, बस I write countdown of 1.5 minutes, then I have a countdown of 1 minute 30 second. If I write countdown of 2 minutes, 2m, and I get the countdown of that also. Okay, fair enough. So I don't think there is any point in waiting, but still we have waited for 1 minute 30 seconds and I don't have any doubts coming in. So that's it for today. Thank you and have a nice day. Good night, sleep tight, don't let the bugs bite. Bye bye.